Hey, good morning guys. I am heading over to Poolsville, Maryland to meet up with a fellow YouTube subscriber named Angler22 on YouTube. Check out his YouTube channel. He has quite a bit of motorcycling stuff. He has a 2012 Yamaha Super Tenere like this one and a Kawasaki Concours. So pretty interesting YouTuber, so check him out, subscribe to his channel. So look at this, we have two ST1300s. He's got a 2008 Concours and we're about to go for a little ride. So tall. All right, we are gonna pull into the gas station here. Look at that, that bike is a 2012 just like mine. So that's his Instagram right there, Ioni_Alex. All right, I'm about to jump on this Concours. Oh yeah, it's easier to get in. Oh, it's so heavy. So this thing is a 2008 and it's got a transponder, so I have it in my pocket. And you know, sitting, it actually feels pretty good. It feels heavy, but I think once it starts moving it's gonna be fine. So I don't know exactly all the controls and stuff, but that's the kill switch. Oh, that's the hazard right there. Start button, kill switch. It's got a transponder, so you just put it to on, and I have the transponder in my pocket. Hydraulic clutch. This has got an electronic windscreen. Controls are very similar. I'm assuming that's just heated grips. Feels very similar to an FJR 1300.
We get lost and then we stop and then we follow whatever route we want.
Okay. Okay. Right. Cool. What's that? Oh, look at that. That's a little pocket with a key. That is awesome. So this thing sounds good. Wow. This sounds really good. Okay, clutch in. It's got a gear indicator too. Oh yeah, it's very easy to... Oh man, I like the good brakes. Good brakes. Very old school dash tech. So very easy to ride. Surprisingly easy. And very similar to the ST1300 FJR, 25 miles an hour. Yeah, that's the Speedo. I was expecting to see a digital dash here. Runs very hot. Like I feel a lot of the heat in my boots, more than the Super Tenere. The mirrors are very easy to adjust, very nice. Speed camera right here. I'm trying to keep the speed limit low, but very comfortable. Man, this thing is kind of like a missile. Yeah. You know, like when you get on one of these bikes and it feels very different than the Super Tenere, but this is what you'd expect from... There we go, I'm in 5th gear already. I do like these bikes, but the sport touring thing is kind of over. Suspension is really good. Suspension is very good on it. It's a very typical sport touring type of suspension. They're too fast, they're too comfortable, and a lot of times you can kind of get in trouble going around. Oh, this is my first real corner. This bike sounds so good. I had a friend of mine crash here one time. I am definitely going very carefully around corners. They're so smooth. This thing is so smooth. Downshift. And that's the thing. I'm riding very conservatively, but unfortunately, this bike is just a beast. What do these things do? Tire. Oh wow, tire pressure. What's battery? 14 volts. Oh, that's fancy. Average 36 miles per gallon. Current 51. Range 190, that's nice. And that's the trip. Very cool. I kind of wish the controls for the meter were here on the handlebars. You know, the new Super Teneres, they have that. What is that? Wow. Oh, that's the headlight. It's got automatic headlight adjustment per headlight, I think. That's kind of crazy. Kind of crazy, man. Look at this. Look at this. Oh my god, this thing runs really hot. I mean, if you thought the Super Tenere ran hot, this thing is kind of like a medieval heating device. The gravel here, even in the top gear, it's very easy to control. Very easy. So this bike is so powerful that it could break traction. By the way, that's the Civil War trail right over there. The suspension on this is very stiff for me, so it's set up for a different rider. But yeah, it's a little on the stiff side. You know, the interesting thing when you compare the suspension of the Super Tenere and this, you definitely feel that this is a little bit stiffer. And it feels like on these rougher roads, it tends to be a little bit more unstable. But the motor on this, it's kind of like a typical large 4-cylinder motor. And I do like its refined motor aspect. The Super Tenere, in comparison, feels very much like a tractor compared to this thing. This thing is just so refined, but it's also very fast and very deceiving to have such large motor under you. And it's very large, but it doesn't feel like it when you're riding. It actually feels kind of natural and slim as you're riding. You know, the one thing that riders need to do on these roads, especially with bikes like this with firmer suspension, is that you have to put your weight on the foot pegs, because if you just kind of sit on it, you bounce around too much in the seat. But if you put just a little pressure on the foot pegs, it removes a lot of the bad suspended kind of bounciness. But a lot of people don't do that. In dirt biking, you do have that kind of mentality of standing and putting weight on the foot pegs. White's Ferry Road. Man, this thing is such a beast. Yeah, this Kawasaki Concours ZX14 or whatever, it's a 1400cc bike. Actually, I think it's the biggest motor I've ever ridden. The largest motor I've had was a 1300cc ST1300. This feels kind of like a sport bike in comparison. The Edwards Ferry, Club Hollow. Let's go to Edwards Ferry. Westerly. Let's go to the right here. Yeah, it feels very sport-like, but it's very like powerful. It's so deceiving. How does it compare to the FJR, you might ask? Well, it's very similar, but it feels like it doesn't go into the corners as easy as the FJR. But the FJR feels just as powerful though. These things are very unpredictable. Look at that, eating a snake. They're too bumpy. That guy had a mean face on. When a bike sounds this mean, it's hard to get a smile out of people. Does the ZX14 or Concours 14 handle on gravel? Well, I don't recommend it, but it is got a very long wheelbase, so the tires aren't great, but it is extremely smooth right now in this very crushed gravel sort of atmosphere, but I don't really recommend it. God damn, this thing is such a beast. The SD1300 has a little bit more maneuverability at low speed. This, of course, is a very good bike for cornering on sweepers. This thing is very stable on the sweepers, I think. You know, too bad this thing doesn't have digital or electronic suspension, because it's clearly set up for a rider of different weight, and I kind of feel myself getting bounced around the road a little bit. But look how effective this windscreen is. Look at that. I want some more wind. This is like really good. And then if I just move it a little bit, it completely gets rid of that wind. This thing feels like a freaking missile, of course, and I think that's the reason I need to avoid these areas, because they're simply way too fast for me. Oh, look at this. This bike is just a cannon. That's the problem. It's simply a very fast bike. When you have fast bikes like this, you tend to ride them a little bit faster. But it's a fun bike. Also, one of the things that are interesting is that the dash was very aesthetically pleasing. At least it's been designed extremely well as far as looks. I do like this symmetrical look that bikes have. So two dials on the side, the electronic stuff on the top, and then they have a dummy lights on each side. So try like 3 and 3, digital dash, tack and speedo. That's a very nice, very typical design thing. You know, I hate it when manufacturers, they're like, ooh, we're gonna try something quirky here. You know, BMW does that. It's like, just keep it simple. You know, I kind of feel the mass when you're going into corners, but a lot of times it's all in your head. These bikes are better cornerers than what people think. I think the reason I'm kind of going to these corners a little bit slow is because I'm just not used to this bike. You know, this bike is a massive bike. It's also not my bike, so I haven't put a lot of miles on it. But the interesting thing is that when you hop from a bike to this, it doesn't feel difficult to ride, because the power seems to be very approachable. It's a very linear power band. I think in the corners you do feel a little bit of that mass. When you have a bike like an Ninja 250, you go into the corners extremely easily. It's a very simple bike to go through, but this, you feel that mass, but you also feel that power. Look at this. This is going to be fun. This is cool because I get to completely rev up this bike, and this bike sounds so good. So look at that. Oh yeah. This sounds so good. Man, that's the ticket. Your bike is awesome, man. It reminds me of the reason I got rid of my ST1300 and FJR.
Just to Too fast?
Too fast. It's like easy to get speeding tickets. Strap, what is that?
The car washer. Oh.
But that's easy to repair though.
Yeah. I mean, I'll...
Riding the Super Tenere feels very familiar. So coming from the Concours onto the Tenere, I think the thing you're going to find is that this thing feels like a tractor, but it's so torquey, and it is a little bit easier to ride at the speeds that I like. The Concours, just looking back at it for the brief time I rode, it's a little bit too fast. You know, I've gotten in trouble quite a bit with the really fast bikes because it's kind of hard to control your excitement, and that power is very intoxicating. But the Tenere, it is a much better bike for everyday riding, I think. But it doesn't give you like that kick in the pants that the Concours does, or a proper sport bike. This bike is very easy to ride. That's what I like about it. Look at all these squirrels. It's kind of funny seeing that Tenere, because it's exactly like the bike that I have. Black and everything. Yeah, that Concours looks very slim from here, but it is a very bulky bike. The Tenere does feel much quicker on its feet. So there he goes. Well guys, I made it here without an incident. Look at this. Angler 22. Check out his YouTube channel on the description below. He gave me these two awesome cases, and I'm going to mount one on here, or maybe two on the sides. I haven't decided yet, but man, look at him. He even gave me the strap here. This is like for a car. And we had a really good ride today, and of course Angler's got the exact same bike that I have. I have not gotten a chance to ride his, but he rode this when I rode the Concours, and he said it's almost exactly the same. I think a little bit on the suspension side is a little bit firmer on this one. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, my tires are pretty much due for another tire. I'm actually going to go dark side on the bike now. I know a lot of people might hate that, but oh well. It was a really good ride, and of course that's my new pickup truck that I'm working on. But that's pretty much it, guys. Thanks for coming along on the ride, and I'll see you in the next video.
So I want to go someplace where we know somebody who can plug us into the social pipeline.
Kind of stuck here. The cops won't bother me.